right, 30 minutes. Let's do it.
What should we talk about?
Mm,
Whatever's feeling resonant, whatever's sitting on your chest, your tummy, your mind, shoulders.
man.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Mm. How's life?
Life is great. Nice to be reunited with you.
Yeah.
Actually, really like going out on McFa night.
Are we going to talk about that?
Not planning anything. Sharing with you what it's present, what feels resonant right now.
Yeah. I was thinking this morning about how I feel like our like intimacy dynamic and like intimacy in general. I was thinking about our sex life and how much I feel like has changed since the conversation we had, since you brought up your frustrations and desires. And you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I'd forgotten about that. For a second, I thought you were referring to a different conversation.
No. Um, and how when you brought it up, I was like, it was really hard for me. And um, I think I did like a good job in myself to just be like, okay, like I can hear hard things, like it's okay. Like when you said it, I was like, I don't think I can show up differently. Like I feel like, and I also told you like it's not necessarily like top priority for me because I'm struggling with a bunch of other things that like this isn't something I'm gonna devote specific time to right now. And I felt like, okay, but like in the past where I might have been like, if someone was wanting something from me that I couldn't provide, and I know this has happened in our relationship before, I would like sort of freak out, like have to make it that they didn't want it, like sort of have to be like they are being selfish or not they, you, like if you were asking something of me that I knew I couldn't give you, it was too hard to sit with that reality and that um those the opposites or whatever it is where it's like you want something from me where I feel like I can't give it to you. And I don't want to force myself to give you something that's not feeling right for me. But I also don't want to sit with the fact that I'm not showing up for you the way that you want or disappointing you. So I have to make it that your desire is wrong or bad or selfish and or unrealistic, whatever I have to do to not have to sit with the fact that I can't provide for you something that you want. And it's hard to, I think it's really hard to accept our limits and the fact that we disappoint people or hurt people or let people down. It's hard to see that about ourselves. We don't like to look at ourselves, or I don't like to look at myself as someone who hurts people or lets people down, or whether it's you or our kids or really anybody or my family, like my extended family. And it's much easier to kind of look at other people, like either not look at it or find ways to like create a story around it where that's not true, where you don't have to be human with flaws, just where you're just like, and, or we really, we really try to bend ourselves backwards to just do the thing that someone wants because we don't want to be that person who lets people down or hurts somebody or isn't living up to our own or other people's expectation of us. So your husband wants something and you feel like you just can't live with the feeling of like Like, and I know I had this where it's like, and even in this most recent conversation, even after everything we've been through and how incredible our relationship is, I'm like, maybe we'll have to get divorced. Like, there's always like a little voice in the back of my head whenever like you bring something up that I can't meet you there. It's like, well, what are we like? What's going to happen? You have to find somebody else who can give it to you. Like, that's where my brain goes. So, and I'm able to kind of like notice all of it and see what's happening, and then kind of just grab myself and be like, okay, and remind myself it's okay for you to be you and have your feelings and desires, and for me to just listen. And it doesn't mean I'm bad or we're getting a divorce or, I have to also then I have to override myself to give it to you because I need you to be happy. It's just like it could have space and live in the relationship, but it's a very hard to really know that, feel that, allow that when without, I think, doing some really conscious active work, because our nature is to be like, and I think we're subtly taught this about life in general. I think we're taught it from our parent-child dynamic, but then especially in relationships, in marriage, where it's like, if you don't make your spouse happy, like they'll leave you, or they'll find someone else, or they'll cheat on you. Um, Probably even specifically like sexually, but I'm sure it overlaps to all sorts of things. Like if you're not like if you're not keeping up with what makes your partner happy, then you're going to lose the relationship. So, or they're going to leave you, or you're going to be abandoned, whatever it is. So, it leaves you with a lot of reason to override yourself, to just do whatever needs to be done for safety and to keep this like illusion of safety. So, anyways, so I was saying that when we had the conversation, I think I've done the work enough to be like, okay, we're probably not going to get divorced. It's okay. You just are telling me something that you want. And even though as you're telling it to me, I'm like, I don't think I could be what you want. Like what you're describing, my whole system's like, I can't do that. Like, that's just, like, I know I've tried, like I have this certain rigidity or stuckness. And like, I'm just like, okay, like, I don't know what this means, but it's scary because like you have a desire and I feel like I can't provide it. And like, it makes it feel really scary, but I allowed it to be a little scary, like it was a hard night. Like I know I went to sleep like crying, just feeling like kind of bad for myself, kind of like a little bit scared of our relationship, like just like not where do we go from here, but like I don't want that for us. We're like, you have something that you desire and I feel like I can't give it to you. And now it's like just hard, you know? And but also while still totally holding space for myself in the sense that like in the past I might have been like, well, you just got to do this, right? You just got to find a way to give this to him. You got to find a way to show up for him how he needs you to be because you got to make everything okay. So I think I was also holding space for like respect for where I am. I felt like a little bit bad for myself, but also was just like, I know like I'm in my journey and this is where I am. And like it's scary. That's that. Not, but like I don't have the answers. I'm not about to put pressure on myself. I'm not about to like try to fix this. It's just like you brought me a desire. I listened to it. I heard it. It entered my heart. It hurt. It made me scared. And that's that. And and I was reflecting this morning of how, and this was like a few weeks ago, right? And I was reflecting this morning how actually everything you actually expressed, I feel like I've been able to step into or drop into and allow. I'll let you confirm or elaborate, but I'm saying in my mind. Um, and I was like, and I didn't do anything. Like I didn't go. And I was like, okay, I could, I know that like we haven't had a lot of money to spend on healing at this specific stage in our life. So I was like, okay, when I can go to like, therapy will help me more, can go like specifically working on like intimacy and letting go and just like surrender. And I could focus on it, like, and I was like, okay, maybe because you brought this up, like I will push it to like higher priority, like we'll see what, you know, my daily anxiety might take precedence, like even though it's all connected. And that's what I told you. I was like, I think that it's not even like targeting specific things. It's just real true therapy and inner work, which when you're doing that, it softens your whole system and it helps every area of your life. So I was like on my mind, like, okay, like when I have the space and time and I'm conscious of this a little bit more now because you brought it into the conversation. And this morning I was reflecting on what I feel like I've been able to just like the surrender that I've been able to have. And I was like, and all that happened. And I know I even like thanked you the next day because I really um, appreciated you bringing your desire to me, even though it's scary and hard. And a part of me is like, if you know I can't do it, why are you like putting a flashlight or a spotlight on like this flaw or this area that's not working when like, I'm not doing it on purpose, like I'm struggling. So why do you need to do that? Like that was part of the feeling. But mostly I was just the next day having so much gratitude and felt so safe because I saw that like you were just bringing it straight to me and how much like that really like signifies and just shows like the level of honesty we have and the level of not and basically that you're not afraid of me. You're not afraid to like either call me out or request things of me, even if it's not like simple. It's easy to ask somebody for something that they could give you, like pass the salt. Okay. It's not hard to ask for. It's easy to ask your partner for something that they could give you. It's much harder to ask them for something where you're like, yeah, like this might be hard for them to do for me. Or maybe they could never do it for me. And when I'm now gonna bring this like sort of emptiness into our relationship, like put a spotlight on something that's not working, like they are who they are, and so many couples I feel like do this. We're like, all right, this is who they are, who am I to like just this is the way they are, and my parents did that to each other. And it's sort of like, let's not like what's the point? Just to highlight someone's flaws? Like this is they are. Like, all right. And you just like you figure out how to either find it elsewhere or just like that desire dies. And you're like, this is what it is. And so I felt the safety and the masculinity and so much of you just being like, and the self in that, just like, I have this desire and I'm going to bring it to you, even if it brings you pain and it's hard for you. And I just felt so safe in that. That was something that I know I expressed to you also right away. I mean, the next day. And so back to this morning, and I was reflecting on um, how how much has changed and how there was no actual work on it on my part, like seeing a therapist for this and how all that the only thing that happened or was done to influence this change was you asking for something. And so I was thinking about it and I was like tripping on it a little because I love this. My brain just starts tripping on these concepts. And I was like, asking is like 50%, at least 50% of the way of getting it is just asking. If not, like 90%. Like asking for what you want is like the work to get it. Is 50% of the way of what you need to do to get it is just the asking, if not more. And I was thinking about myself and people in life and how often people will walk around with so many desires, but they're not asking for a single one of them. they'll be like wishing and desiring or struggling and suffering and pain from the lack of it, and yet they're not actually asking whoever it is, right? Their spouse, their boss, their kids, their parents, their friend, their neighbor, whatever it is, they're just not even asking for it. And it's like asking for something is so hard, especially when you've already made many stories why it's not going to happen. And my parents, they're not able to hold this for me. They're not able to show up for me this way. Oh, my boss would never. Or my kids, like, they're so spoiled. They could never, ever do this thing that I wish my kids could do. We all have these stories, and then we don't ask, and we stay with either we like shut, mute the desire, but it doesn't ever really go away, or we like live with it in the constant like desire and struggle and everyday living it, like hitting against this thing that you wished you had and frustrated. And yet, like, when you think about it, it's like, have you even asked for it? Is it from Hashem? Have you asked Hashem? Have you asked, meaning whoever the appropriate person to ask, have you even asked? Or is it that you are like already assuming that you can't get it and therefore for sure not getting it? Or are you, and whether it's whatever it is, something that you want from your husband, right? Like something that's completely out of budget and so why would you ask him for something that you know he can't give you? You don't have the money for it. Why would you ask? And it's like, because asking has nothing to do with, what I want to say is asking has nothing to do with getting, but it's also the exact opposite. What I'm saying is asking has everything to do with getting, but it's also like they're both true. Like asking for something has nothing to do with how you're going to get it, you know? That's like a totally separate thing. That's like, leave that to God. Like asking is just an Aveda. It's just the work. And that's why I say it's 50% of getting it, because like asking for things is so vulnerable, right? Like needing a handout, right? The feeling of like asking for something and making yourself vulnerable, like I want, I need, is so vulnerable that we only do it usually when we're like almost positive we're gonna get it. Because being in that beggar position of like your hand is out, you're like, can I have? And then not receiving is so like, it's very, very, very vulnerable. And there could be so much shame in it. And it's like, so we walk around protecting ourselves and basically only asking for things that we know we're going to get. But then we're missing out on this whole magical universe called ask for what you want. Because when you ask for what you want, like you actually create energy for the thing that you want. And you don't have, it doesn't have to be within nature. It doesn't have to be, you're not God. Like you don't have to know. Why, if you have a desire, does how you're going to get it, what does that have to do with it? Like, what does that have to do with the fact that you want something? Like, they're separate things. Like, one is a desire, can I have? And the other is like what the practicals are to get it. But you're not only allowed to desire things that you know you could get. That's how we live. We like literally the parts of us, like there's like all these managers who are like only letting the desires go through that they know we could get. And then we're only getting 1% of what we could be getting if we just had the bravery to be in desire and allow space for it to come to fruition. Not necessarily immediately, but it's like you're opening up this field when you make a desire, when you ask for something, for it to actually come into you. But I was thinking about how many times and how many people and just basically everyone I feel is not doing that. Is just not asking for what they want while being in pain about what they want. You know, I could think of tons of ways that I'm not doing it. And I have such good reasons, I have such good reasons. Like, no, like they just can't. Like people just can't, they won't be able to give it to me. Why would I want to live in that world where I've like opened myself up, like opened up the desire more just to have to feel the loss of it? So I'm just not going to ask for it, and but like sitting with the fact that you brought a desire to me and I don't know if you like explicitly asked something of me, but you brought a desire to me, which is very similar, and it was kind of an ask. And now we are living in the fruition of that desire is now a reality in our relationship, and absolutely nothing happened to make it no practical tangibles have happened to make it happen, like, be. It's like you just the desire worked for itself. You created all of these angels and power and energy for desire, and somehow they came to me, and I'm able to be with you in a way that I never was and didn't think I'd be able to without really working on it. And, yeah, it's I think it's really hard, and that's why I feel, like, so much gratitude for you because I see the level of self-respect and honesty and also the level of, like, living bigger and trust and bitachon and, like, expansiveness you live in to be like just because to live in everything that I'm saying, which is just and the vulnerability, just because I don't know how I'm gonna get it doesn't mean I'm gonna deny myself bringing this into our relationship because it's real for me, and if it's real for me, I want it to be here. And that's so powerful, and I have so much respect for you for that, and I'm also like, I kind of knew this before, and I've seen this in different ways that um different areas in my life where I've been like, "Oh, wow, like, really just have to ask," you know? And I've seen it with you and we've had so many things in our relationship where I'm constantly having to work on this because it's really hard for me to ask you for things when I don't think you can give it to me, specifically like financial things, but like, why would I tell you? I'm just gonna hurt you. Why would I tell you I want this like $3,000 bag when I know you can't get it for me? Like just to rub it in your face that like I wish you were richer. Like, why would I tell you that? Like it just doesn't seem nice or appropriate. But I realize I'm like, I'm hiding my desires from you. And how are you ever gonna fulfill my desires if I don't even tell you them? Like, and it's just it's so powerful. And it's like I have like shame about some of my desires because I'm like, oh my God, like, but like your husband has his limitations. Like, what are you doing? Just like telling him you wish that he was someone else? Like it's not right. But like that exact thought process is actually what keeps things small instead of being like, yeah, I wish that you could fly me on a private jet to wherever I want. Like it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't have to make any sense. And in fact, once you actually or just feel safe to express it, it starts working for you. It starts happening. And this world doesn't make sense. Hashem doesn't make sense. Anything is possible if your mind can even think it. So first just allow, like, I would say allow yourself to allow your desires to be known to yourself and then allow them to be known to people in your life, whether that's your husband, whether that's even just not even necessarily a specific ask, but just a desire, but then also other areas in your life where, you want a raise, but you would never ask because you don't think you're going to get it. Well, then you're never going to get it. But if you ask and you don't get it, now you feel like you have to leave the job because it opened up this space of lack. It's like everyone's trying to avoid that, but then you're basically not allowing it to happen. And you're just not allowing there to be some discomfort or this area of like just where the ask just works for you. I feel like it's like magic. And with that, I will close my monologue to allow you to speak.
One more.
Please don't ask for anything. Have you learned nothing? I'm sorry.
Motherfucker. Oh, that is so good, babe. I desire more.
Enough already.
I can't remember clearly what I said to you.
Do you want me to remind you?
Sure, yeah. I remember that it was different for me. than my typical modus operandi around these things, and just like the fact that yeah, I had my own process around it. It wasn't just like off the cuff, you know? It was certainly intentional and different, but I don't remember what I said or like exactly how I came to you with it. And in fact, until you just brought it up right now, like it's not even like a marker on my map. Yeah, I'm just been enjoying the surrender and the flow. But it's not like in my head, I'm not like, ooh, we're in flow. Oh, I had a desire and I asked for it, and now things are opening up. Like I wasn't experiencing any of that in that way.
When I say it though, do you see it or it's not or, like, do you see the direct
Yeah,
correlation?
yeah, yeah, I do. Although I'd also add to that, when you say, and I didn't even have to do any work, like you've been doing so much work for so long. And
Right.
like the fact that you were even able to cry about it versus completely just
Be defensive.
deflecting, yeah, getting defensive or projecting it onto me like, "Oh, what's your fucking problem?" Like, "Oh, like you're never gonna be satisfied, huh?" Like,
Mhm.
and I think there was a tinge of that initially. But the fact that you were able to enter into your heart right away, that's already huge. And then the next day to come, but again, from like, in my relationship with you, it's not a surprise at all to me. But so I'm not saying like, wow, the fact that you were able to do it, like, no, it's off of years of work. But just being able to be in your feelings about it, A, and then B, able to come to me with so much appreciation and admiration and like really acknowledge that, like, wow, thank you for having a desire and thank you for bringing it to me. And what came up for me is nothing really to do with you. It's actually that I want the same thing that you want. And the reason I'm crying is because, in your words just now, you said, I feel bad for myself. And I think there's something so beautiful in that, feel bad for yourself, but like having compassion on the parts of you that are feeling trapped because there are all these other parts of yourself, or maybe they're not really parts, it's just actually the self that is feeling completely imprisoned by this other part that is just not, is just guarding the door and saying, nobody gets past here. So, yeah, I am interested in what I actually said and how it came to you, but I do remember the context, but it's just so fascinating how like you then the next morning you were able to reflect and put it in the context of our relationship and in context of those points of engagement. And for me, it's like as though that conversation never happened, and I'm just like enjoying you, and just vibing and loving it. And I'm not like, oh, where are we in our growth? Where are we in like the expansion of our intimacy? Like, I'm just like, I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it, I'm in it, I'm riding it. And like, I haven't like zoomed out and been like, ooh. It's just
Mm.
interesting how your head
I'm
works and
always
mine.
zooming out. I'm always tracking.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe not always, but yeah, I mean, also it stood out for me a lot because when you brought it up, I was like, I already feel like I have done a lot of growth in surrender. And it was really hard. I'm like, more? Like, can it be enough already? Can I be enough for you? Right? Like, that's what comes up is like, can I just be enough for you as I am? Why do you have to tell me I'm not enough? And so there's that part that wants to like put it on you, be like, wow, you're like you said, like, you're just never going to be satisfied, are you? Just find a way to like make you the problem so I don't have to feel like the problem. Um, but yeah, I obviously know how to be honest with myself and like that's not really true, you know? Um, and I held both. I held the fact that like even if I never changed or grew in this area, I've had made so much progress and I'm enough, right? And I'm proud of myself. And the fact that you want more is also allowed, And I really didn't see a way for me to meet you in what you wanted. Um, And it was hard. It was hard to sit with that and be like, wow, like, I don't know how I'm going to give you this. And we're just going to have to live with the fact that you've now opened up this sort of um, void of like where you want something that I can't give you. And I don't say can't, but like I just, I don't feel like I can snap my fingers. And um and yeah, I mean obviously just allowing myself to feel it, hold all of it, cry for myself. And then I also recognized how, while parts of me wished you never ever brought it to me, like with the really young parts were like, why do you have to, hurt me or tell me I'm not enough or show me my flaws, like that, I want to do that. I also was able to see the the beauty and the just power in the fact that the the honor that you had to our relationship, the respect that you had to our relationship and to me and for yourself, like it was just so beautiful. And so I was able to hold all of it. And then like, yeah, like then I'm in a place of like trust in my journey and not forcing and not rushing. And I'm like, okay, like let's see how this plays out. Let's see, like now it's my awareness. And as I go look for a new therapist, like I just like I have this awareness. We'll see if I choose to focus on it specifically or if I allow my general growth to allow me to just surrender more and be a little less rigid and a little more in flow and a little more in my body, right? Because you're asking for me to be what you're basically asking for me is be in my body, essentially what you were asking for. And I was like, dude, I'm like, I know. I'm struggling with that myself. Like, why do you need like I know, like and so and that part of that gave me hope because I was like, the work I'm doing to get into my body will directly transfer into our sexual relationship. But then also I'm like, I already felt the pressure just for myself, and I felt like you were adding more pressure, and I was like, "Why are you doing this?" But, and that's why I had respect for you because I'm like, I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety and a lot of things lately, and it's like, and I've been open about it. Like been crying to you about like some of my struggles on a daily basis with my anxiety, and like then you to come to me and be like, "Well, you know what? I want to level up in this area." I was almost like, F you, like, what why what like, hello, I'm like and I even told him, like, "Don't you see I'm not okay?" Like, like, just like, I have rahmanas on me, why are you bringing me your desires right now? Like, and and that's part of why reflecting on it the next day, I was, like, so wowed because I'm like, you had every reason and excuse to be like, "Oh, my poor wife, like, she's struggling, I can't bring this to her," but, like, that's exactly when that would have affected our relationship. That energy would have brought in a dynamic into a relationship where now, like, I'm like, you have to like have rahmanas on me, like you can't even bring yourself in. And it's not even a relationship anymore. Like that. So I was like, thank you for not being afraid of me and not getting scared and letting my anxiety now. Basically, that would have made my anxiety like really part of the relationship because then it would be like, now we're tiptoeing around that where it's like, no, this is real. I struggle with anxiety. And you know what? I mean, like, you'd be like, "Mushki, I know you have your things, and guess what? This is something for me, and I'm here too," And so to be able to do that, especially when one partner is struggling, to be able to bring them something that you're struggling with about
Mm,
them, it's like it's so you have every reason not to, and to do it is just like I have a lot of respect for that, and like I was saying, it actually just created change. You know, it's really it's really amazing. Yeah, and what you said, I mean, like, I don't remember, but I remember you being like, "I've just been thinking about this and it's been on my mind." And usually I'm like not really focused on this and I'm happy with, so much and I see so much of the growth, but like I've been really wanting to have more intimate experiences you with that are like slower and more where you're like more embodied and I really feel like there's like real connection and not that we're just like doing something and like satisfying each other, but like there'd be really like slow intimacy and much more presence and eye contact. And I was like, just, and not that we never have that, but you were asking for like a deeper and like I was, I felt like I had come so far already that it was just like, hard to hear, and also I know what stops me in those moments is that, like, it's sometimes when I have to, like, really truly go into my body, I meet resistance, and, I've processed it because, like, there's a lot of sadness that I haven't really fully processed yet, so if I'm gonna go inside and let go, I'm gonna have to open everything up. You don't just, like, let go to pleasure, you let go to everything that's happening inside of you, and I don't really wanna do that, so there's, like, a I'm like, "Great, like, what you're asking from me is, like, not something I can do right now," you know? And then, like I said, to have experiences that we have had since then, and I'm like I feel like I'm, like, watching a different person. Like, I'm like, "This doesn't make any sense to me." Like, the ability that I am able to let go and be in my body doesn't make I'm like, "What like, how did this happen? Like, where did it come from?" And there's nothing that obviously, all of my work, every single day that I do, my Aveda of being in my body and being in my breath and slowing down, all of that is all work, but I've been doing that for over a year now, like, really seriously. And the progress that I feel like the progress, quote unquote, that I feel like I've made in the last month since we've spoken, since you brought this to me, is like 10x, if not more, to what I've been able to do. And it's really just beautiful. So thanks for bringing me
Mm.
your desire, bringing it into our relationship.
You're welcome, babe. Thank you for receiving me so fully.
I really didn't want to talk about sex on our third episode, but here we are.
What did you want to talk about?
Or no, I wanted to just get a little more comfortable with the other stuff first. Not that we went so deep into that, but just like, I don't know. But you asked me what was up, so what am I gonna do?
Love it, babe. I'm so grateful we decided to do this podcast because we get to sit down and have these conversations that, like, yeah, eventually they'll come through in one way or another through, our quality time that we spend together. But doing it in this focused way, whether it's like an evening where we come out or we come out in a day like today, sit down at, 3 in the afternoon to have the conversation. It's just so beautiful. So awesome. It's like people schedule in sex, you know?
Mhm.
How much time do you got?
Not for the kind that you want. Don't have that kind of time right now.
Hey, I'm always down for a quickie, babe. You know that. Cheers, baby. Fine.
Delete, delete.
Backspace, backspace. Control, Alt, Delete.
Okay, I have to run to pick up our child.
All right, mama.
Okay.
Love you, babe.